Hello. We are here for our first video. I'm filming on behalf of my corporation, Satanic Games and Occult Ministries, non-for-profit. Currently in filing status with the state of Florida. I have to pay them their representative agent fee, which I'll get around to next paycheck. But I wanted to start work right away. So, a brief introduction. Basically, many people will debate religion. We're going to be talking about a lot of religious theories here. My shirt probably gives away some of this, but don't interpret too much. Basically, we're going to talk about a lot of different points where the Bible just suddenly altered in timeline, where something in the Bible happened incorrectly. We're also going to be adding new pages and new scriptures to the Bible. We're also going to be talking about a variety of other religions, many of which are college-educated discussions. I will put it that way. So, I will be using Teletubbies as an example. These are very rare Play School 24s, so I will use them great properties. You'll understand as I explain in my videos. I will be using them in great detail to represent some of the rituals and otherwise some of the religious stuff that we represent. Okay. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about, actually, flipping the coin, we'll say heads. Good. Alright. Now, since we landed on tails, we're going to talk about this one first. I have some notes that I have with me. So what it is, could Satan quit his job? Now here's what we know about Satan. Poe, if you don't mind, I'm going to use you to represent Satan. And we're going to say Lawlacus the Blazing Sun, or Lala K, Lala as you would like to call him, he's going to represent God. So what happens is, you're right under your second command, you're on the lower pedestal and the stepping stool next to God. Now, one of the things you decide to do is you decide to go to Dipsy, who we're going to say is your original son. Your original son, basically you decide to send him down to save people, to come back from the sin you created in the first place. You created the sin, but it was never intended to get there. This one has free will. He disobeyed your orders and gave an apple to this lady named Eva. And basically what happened is Eva took a bite of the apple and gave it to Adam. And basically what happened is it just started the whole thing with the garden. The Teletubby garden was ruined. They were kicked out of the Teletubby paradise. And basically what happened is, now he, however, wants to be the savior. He wants to assume the first role in command. However, this affects your salary and your food, so you kick him down to the pizza, and basically you send him down even to the lower spires of blankets. So what happens to Poe, who we're representing as the devil, just goes down. And he goes to the floor, which we're going to say is hell. However, hell isn't necessarily a bad place in this case, it's just absent from his presence. So hell is used to describe just an absence from this one's presence. So Lawlacus, we're going to say, is God, and, he's just describing his presence. Now, it's a misinterpretation. Unfortunately, the hell we believe in today, it isn't real, and I can prove this by a variety of scripts. There's actual scriptural evidence that I could say would prove that hell isn't what we think it is. You see, what happened is, during some time in the Old Testament, and if I had my notes on me, I would look this up. I'll do some video editing to maybe put it in. Basically, the pagans were an enemy tribe to the Israelis, the early pagans, the witchcraft, which we're going to talk about their religion later on. They were sacrificing children in a particular valley. They were doing their spells, and they were doing their child sacrifice. And what happened is they called that valley Gehenna. Gehenna then became hell. Now, what happens though is that had nothing to do with this guy right here. That had nothing to do with him. The devil had nothing to do with the creation of hell or Gehenna for that matter. He was just a dissident of Lala's command, or God's command. So he was just a dissident, and those two are just at odds. But eventually they make friends. Eventually they make friends, and they're good again. But now everyone is stuck with the false belief that hell is an infernal fire pit. When really, all it is used just to describe a valley where children were once sacrificed. Now, what happens here, let's fast forward to 2000s, year 2000s. We're going to have an alternate timeline. At this point, the Bible alternates in version of time. Let's say the Bible branches off here. And what it is, Poe, the devil, he's getting very tired. His job is getting very boring. So Poe goes up to Lalake, and says basically, I quit. I'm not going to do my work anymore. I'm going to go on vacation, and I'm going to go party with the sinners. So Poe goes to party with the sinners. He goes into the earth, the earthly ones are. He meets Mr. Light Yagami. He meets Mr. Obama. He meets George Bush. He meets Trump himself. And what happens is they all go on a party. And then all the souls that were once supposedly punished, they just stop being punished. They run free. And so do all the demons. Because the demons all left hell with them. Now this guy, he's saying, oh, darn, the original son, he's out of a job. So, sorry, he gets handed a pink slip. You see, nobody needs him to save anybody anymore. Because what happened is, there isn't a hell anymore. So there's no fear of eternal fire pit. There's no salvation to be given, so he just walks off. So he just walks off. And then what happens is, basically, this guy is just standing on himself. He's looking, watching over the world. And basically, he sees everything is going into turmoil. So what's going to happen is, this is the new chapter. That is the prologue for the new chapter that takes place directly after Revelation. So what happens is, we need to do a different blanket to represent these. If I was more computer advanced after this, if I was more of an advanced graphic artist, I would represent this better. But we're going to say this is the ocean. Now, from the ocean, what came to rise were, he's sitting up here all the way on the pinnacle of the sky, watching. And what happens is a great sorcerer comes along, a man who's very powerful in the occult. We'll call him Kylurtheon. What happens is he works in the seas, and in the flesh pits, he creates very powerful beasts. And the beasts just rise from the ocean. There come a total of 4 of them. And the beasts rise from the ocean. So they have risen from the ocean. And what happens is they are allied against God and his angels. They have risen and they are allied against God and his angels. So what happens is they basically challenge the big yellow one to a duel of the spirits. And then the throne falls. The throne ends up falling into chaos. And that's how we have what is called the incident of the destruction of heaven, the glory of whatever Lord faded. The glory faded. There's no Savior coming to help the earthly ones. The glory just faded. However, then this guy sees, oh well, what happened here? The devil comes back and sees, oh dear, my master's gone. What happened? Wake up, wake up, wake up. CPR, CPR, CPR. Wake up, wake up. And Poe says, or the devil says, since he is no longer around and his son has been slain as well, that makes me the new ruler. So in that process, now Poe, Satan, Satanica, sits at the top of the throne. And the kingdom of Jehovah, Yahweh Shem Ham Farash, was just completely overthrown. And he comes up with a completely new set of principles, completely new set of rules to govern the world. He rewrites the Bible, he adds new chapters to the Bible, and what it is, everything changes. He has the power to distort, and he changes the world. So now what happens is we have things like Yu-Gi-Oh! We have things like Magic the Gathering. We have all sorts of stuff. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is taking over the world. There's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Revolution. There's a Magic the Gathering revolution. Pokemon is taking over. These companies are doing very well, and there's no divine deity left to stop them. And what it is, Poe, the devil, is actually encouraging. He cheers them on as it feeds his amusement. And this is what began as the New World Spiritual Order. And so what happened is, basically, many would pray to Poe, Satan, now that he was the king of heaven. Satan had inherited the kingdom. And what would happen is, basically, those who would pray would be well rewarded for their faith. As they would pray, and he would bestow eternal blessings. He would bestow the knowledge of madman, the knowledge of companies, and he would bestow the knowledge of infernal blessings. So he was Poe, Satanica, the chief devil, and he had risen to the top. Alright, thank you for our first lesson.